Hello everybody, welcome, and today we're going to be doing an excerpt from the third installment of the Starshatter series, The Dreads of Vengeance, and this one's called Gun Girl. Enjoy. Dozin finally stopped before a small weapons stall at the very end of Apple Crate's market. Inspecting the merchandise, Dozin noticed that indeed the weapon selection was rather limited, although plentiful in quantity. Most guns were old and had seen much use, something easily noticeable by the apparent wear and tear. A dent here, a scratch there. All weapons had seemingly changed hands many times over, but after inspecting, the killer made his decision. Each gun had a name etched into the grip or stock, without exception had one kill notch. In his mind, it was highly appropriate for each gun such as these to be wielded by their newly formed youth battalion. The stall owner was but a child, no older than 12 perhaps. The girl wore an aura of stubborn defiance around her like a jewel-encrusted gown. The long jet black straight hair that she wore as a ponytail and her porcelain white skin were indicative of the girl's pure Asian ancestry. At first, his nose caught the scent of strong medication, but muddled with the smell of metal, gun grease, and ozone coming from the weapon's power pack, he soon forgot about it. She was dressed in a simple, clean, well-kept blue summer dress with a pair of darkened vintage biker glasses covering her eyes. Around her waist, the girl wore a utility belt bristling with all sorts of repair and weapon crafting tools. The girl's PDA was seemingly an advanced model, and she, strangely enough, linked the Walther M91 laser pistol to its sensor module via a physical cable. Though it was the same model as his own, her gun seemed lighter and sported, instead of an overcharged module, a double power pack attachment with a virtual targeting unit. Dozin knelt before the human child and, smiling, pointed at the stall.
How much for rifles, sidearms, and power packs enough to arm a battalion-strong force of Lightfoot, young lady?
The girl's face twitched as she instinctively turned her head towards his booming voice and raised her hands, hesitantly touching the sleeve of his armored uniform. Dozin's eyes widened as he realized the child was blind. He gently led her tiny hands where she could reach for his face. "Kilra, welcome to Apple Crate, Father." Her voice was soft, quiet, and not surprisingly sad. Yet with the sadness, Dozin sensed a hint of the same defiance reflected in the stern posture that she had exhibited on the outside. "My name is Akira, but everyone here calls me the Gun Girl."
Dozin Ray, Morale Officer of IMS Starshatter. Your eyes. May I ask how?
During the last invasion, a Jaren PPG blast hit the house I and my friends were taking cover. I managed to drag those who survived from the burning building, but... The girl removed her old-fashioned glasses. Dozin studied her burned and disfigured eye sockets, noting that the wounds were extraordinarily deep and covered with metagel. She slowly put the glasses back on and motioned towards the weapons stall. "I lived, but most of my friends didn't. To begin with, I've lost my parents in another raid back on our home station of Farpost 3. After the battle, I told the neighbors here that my father had taught me how to fix weapons, and they were kind enough to shelter me. Brought me all these guns so that I can make my living by fixing and selling them to others." The PPG was a beastly cannon which fired wide arcs of plasma, very slowly, and in much shorter range than modern Terran weapons of the same type. This technology was ancient and in most races used it for orbital bombardment, or hitting stationary targets, since it required only energy and therefore cost-efficient compared to bombs. It was a weapon of terror, a weapon of mass destruction. You couldn't use it with much success against moving spaceships, since most were all protected by energy shields and armor plating. The Jaren were one of the few races famous for employing PPGs for close air support, and they blanket fire it on weaker enemy positions or reinforce civilian buildings. Only after they've secured the necessary foodstuff, of course. Dozen almost reached over and touched the girl's face, but his hand stopped midway. Once more, he made a concentrated effort to keep calm, still his voice, and asked,
But your eyes. Can't I?
"No, I don't want handouts. My parents didn't bring out a leech into this galaxy. No, they did not. I can work, and soon I will make enough to pay for the eye cloning and surgery. But it's just a couple weeks more until I have the needed sum, Father. There's no need to worry about me." He opened his mouth to speak, but the looks that the nearby vendors gave him almost made Dozen tear up. Those Terrans. What was it that they used to say during and after the 1969 invasion? "We will bend, but we will not break. And, if fall we must, then not on our knees." Dozen looked at the stall again and prepared a list of weapons on his PDA, once more directing his attention to its owner.
So then, what will it cost to equip my battalion of Lightfoot?
"Well, Father, my weapons are in perfect order. The people who last owned them sacrificed themselves to protect this place and the people who live in it. Therefore, I shall take no less than 3,000 creds for the rifles, pistols, and all ammunition for them. And believe me when I say, Father, I do have plenty of those in storage." The weapons are an assortment of railguns, laser rifles, and pistols. Every piece is in perfect working order, as I mentioned earlier. I will throw even 100 grenades, a mixed container full of claymores and anti-tank mines, just for good measure. The infantry heavy weapons will cost you extra. How many machine guns?
6 heavies, 20 light, plus 20 shoulder anti-material lasers and or rail rifles. What about melee? Do you have any vibro weapons that you can spare?
Bayonets, the best you can buy in this market. Excellent vibro blades, 16 inches long and 14 centimeters. And yes, all of my rifles have the attachment. That would be another 5,000 credits, and that is a bargain. The girl turned around and her fingers craftily waved above her PDA. She was using a Terran-made software for the blind. The device spoke with words and numbers while she slid from the now full holofile into his PDA. Akira's sad smile slowly morphed into a happy one. And that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed this little reading. Again, this was a part of Book 3 of the Starshatter series, Treads of Vengeance. And yes, that's also the very same book I'm currently on. If you've enjoyed this, then go ahead, hit that like and subscribe, and, why not just share it with your friends. You can also pick up the book on Amazon. Links will be provided down below. And if you're also feeling it, you can go right on over to the author's, Aragmar, also known as the Black Knight, and you can go to his Patreon and give him a little bit of love over there while you're at it. Also visit him on minds.com, because that's where he posts everything about this book and then some. So until next time, take care of yourselves out there, God bless, and